Hello there. My name is Dan Gardner, and I'd like to welcome you to the Mercado Institute of International Trade, the U.S. import community's go-to destination for training and education. The Mercado management team believes deeply in the transformational power of education, and it is upon this philosophical belief that the MIIT was founded. As a business, the Mercado value proposition centers on the deployment of a SaaS-based business-to-business platform that digitally integrates all facets of the import supply chain. As an integral part of that value proposition, the Mercado Institute provides top-flight training content specific to the U.S. import process. Let's have a look and see what we're talking about. Our agenda for this introductory video is a simple one. First, an introduction to Mercado Labs, our technology and services marketplace. And from there, we'll jump right into the Mercado Institute of International Trade, talking about the value proposition, the training syllabus itself, and even present some actual module excerpts. As you can see from the title of this slide, Mercado really is the global business-to-business platform where imports happen. Built by importers for importers, the Mercado team has over 100 years of collective experience dealing with the complexities of international trade. By viewing this platform as a digital bridge, one can see how it augments and facilitates multi-party collaboration while creating transparency and end-to-end supply chain visibility. Essentially, the platform provides you with multiple solutions that save time, money, and ultimately frustration, basically removing friction from the inbound supply chain. The platform empowers you through transparent, measured, and collaborative supply chains, bringing all supply chain players together on the same platform, and in the end, enables you to focus your talents on growing your business, that core competency that drives the success of your business. Needless to say, the current import supply chain is indeed overly complex. With close to 60 process steps in even the most basic import model, it's not unusual to see companies take a siloed approach to operational execution, with each functional area focusing on its responsibilities. The Mercado solution is designed to integrate key import functions in a way that creates a holistic view of supply chain operations. Whether people are charged with managing bills of material with overseas vendors, are responsible for purchase order coordination, or manage all inbound logistics and customs activities, the Mercado solution set provides the visibility, transparency, and operational detail that leads to dramatic supply chain improvements. The Mercado technology platform consists of 3 modules for sourcing, production, and shipping. The result is that all trading partners are on the same platform, all intermediaries work off of one application, with all business rules, milestones, alerts, communication, and reporting both automated and standardized. By no coincidence, you will soon see that the Mercado Institute of International Trade takes the same integrated approach to import training, with a particular focus on the links between sourcing, ordering, and shipping. In this slide, a deeper dive into the Mercado solution set reveals 12 powerful tools that ensure what you order from an overseas vendor is exactly what you receive. For example, collaborative order management brings together all suppliers, factories, and third parties to work in one system. Just below that, the in-app video chat screen share is a voice and visual tool that facilitates communication with partners around the world. Moving on, configurable milestones and alerts keep all parties on point in areas that include last ship dates and the timing of ocean bookings with carrier-specific sailing schedules. With Mercado's business intelligence reporting capabilities, importers can identify important insights, trends, and improvement opportunities that drive the import model forward. And finally, you'll note Mercado's commitment to education and training in the form of both complimentary and subscription-based content. Let's move on now and talk more about the Mercado Institute of International Trade. Essentially, the Mercado Institute of International Trade is an online educational platform designed specifically for U.S. importers. Its content covers all facets of importing into the U.S., starting with demand management in a forecasting environment, all the way through omni-channel distribution. You'll note in our last bullet point that upwards of 60 hours of material will be rolled out beginning in the summer of 2018. Let's talk now about how the Mercado Institute manifests its philosophical commitment to education. The whole program is designed to provide students with practical knowledge to improve the way work is done on a day-to-day basis. You're not going to see a lot of theory here. You're not going to see a lot of untested hypotheses. This is practical experience that can be used in the workplace. The content is available on both a complimentary and subscription basis, and should students complete all of the material, a certificate is available upon that completion. What we have here is an excerpt from the MIIT syllabus, driven by that same integrated approach that we saw previously, starting with sourcing into purchase order management and an international shipping environment. This is just an excerpt. There's actually a lot more detail, a lot more material. First off, we'll start with demand management in an omni-channel environment, understanding that demand management really starts with a forecast, dealing with actual customer orders, and something referred to as available to promise. That's what drives things like sourcing strategies and activities, how purchase orders are placed on international vendors, and ultimately how goods are shipped. We have better than 5 hours of content on best practices in global sourcing. We go deep into the function of material requirements planning, whether a company does its own manufacturing or outsources that manufacturing. We really begin to broaden the base of applications of import knowledge in that material requirements planning module. Lots of content on purchase order management, the activity of placing POs on vendors overseas and how to manage those. We have some very nice material on sales and operations planning, how companies can adjust to variances in their supply chain activities. Full-on import model analysis, things like the pros and cons of a buyer's consolidation import model versus a transload model. Within that framework, end-to-end discussion on international transportation, air freight and ocean freight, and of course, a great deal of detail on U.S. import procedures. A very strong, comprehensive, yet integrated approach to presenting material specific to U.S. import supply chains, with that emphasis from sourcing into a purchase order management environment and an international shipping environment. As we noted a moment ago, our approach to education is the same as it is to supply chain execution, integration and synchronization of all activities. What we're looking at here is a basic representation of the two sides of any supply chain. The buy side, the acquisition of raw materials, components, subassemblies, and even finished goods out into a distribution environment on the sell side of the supply chain equation. But taking us back to a moment ago and talking about demand management, how do we receive demand signals from customers and convert those demand signals into supply requirements on vendors all the way back up the supply chain, whether we do our own manufacturing or we outsource that manufacturing and have to manage things like bills of material and the quality of raw materials coming from suppliers into our outsourced manufacturer's plant. Very much an integrated and synchronized approach to education because that's what is required out in the real world. Now we're going to look at some of those examples we spoke of, the excerpts. We're not going to go into detail in each slide. These are examples that provide a visual representation of the tools that we use in the training. What we're looking at here is one of the excerpts from the analysis of various import models. Things like buyer's consolidation, where multiple vendors in a specific geographic region are sending orders into a consolidation center, perhaps Yantian in South China, for subsequent shipping to the United States. Or a transload scenario where full container loads are coming out of vendors but going into a deconsolidation center, perhaps in Carson, California, again for subsequent distribution out to the United States. The point here is the level of detail that we go into and the relevant information that we provide. One thing we do at the MIIT is provide a lot of documentary examples to support the material that we happen to be teaching. In this particular instance, the example is a purchase order, perhaps the most important document in the entire import process. As you can see, we can use tools like a zoom feature to look at the ramifications of an Incoterms rule, or what the description of the merchandise is and how that description has to be consistent through the entire import process. Just a couple of examples, but again, the idea is to provide a window into the methodology and tools we use to get important points across. In one of our later modules, we explore the entire customs component of importing into the United States. In this particular example, how to use the harmonized tariff schedule of the United States. So we will provide multiple examples from multiple industries that talk about the nomenclature of the HTS US, starting with headings and subheadings, the importance of article descriptions and how they match up with the descriptions found first on a purchase order and then on a commercial invoice from a vendor, and determining rates of duty depending on the country of origin of the goods. Comprehensive treatment of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection aspect of inbound supply chains. So this really wraps up our introductory video to the Mercado Institute of International Trade. Hopefully, you've got an idea of what Mercado is about from its value proposition, but also what we offer from an educational perspective. For more information on any facet of Mercado's business activities and certainly the MIIT, please contact Brian Nacy with the below contact information.